Hello and welcome to Three Fine Legs. This is a brand new cricket show here on YouTube. We aim to provide you content pretty much every week throughout the year, really, talking about all things cricket. And where better to start, I suppose, than the IPL, which is currently taking place over in the UAE. We're up to about 3 weeks of the competition so far, and that'll be pretty much what we're discussing here today. I'm Nikesh Ragani, commentator, broadcaster. We'll be broadcasting on the IPL in the UK, on UK radio from next week throughout the rest of the tournament. And I'm here with my two colleagues.
Hi, I'm Uncle Desai, broadcaster at the BBC, similarly to Nikesh, covering the IPL. And we have done for the last few years. And we just thought it would be a good platform to have a chat about cricket, not just the IPL, but we want to talk about all things cricket. And of course, we have the wonderful Abhishek Junjunwala, our cricket expert, our cricket badger, should we say? Is that how we should describe you? Our expert.
I'm not sure about the cricket expert, but yeah, I'm Abhishek Junjunwala. I've played a bit of cricket. I played a few years in the IPL. And now, as Ankur and Nikesh, I'm also part of the BBC. I do a lot of broadcasting with BBC. And as Nikesh mentioned, we will be covering the IPL from Monday onwards, and we'll be covering the rest of the tournament. So if you're in the UK, you can hear us on the radio, or else we'll be here doing this cricket show where we'll be talking, as Ankur mentioned, everything about cricket.
Very modest from you there, Abhishek. Played a bit of cricket, 4 years worth of IPL, different franchises, of course, as well. We're nearly 3 weeks into the IPL now. A couple of your old franchises, I'm sure you always keep an eye on them. Who do you think have been the outstanding team? Has there been an outstanding team? Because, it's a lot tighter this year in the IPL, just looking at the table, than it has been in previous years. Who's impressed you so far? Which teams do you think are looking good?
To be honest, when Kings 11 Punjab started the first match, I thought they're going to be one of the best teams in the competition, like every year. Nothing has changed so far for them. They're still at the bottom of the table after showing a lot of promise. Surprisingly, two of their openers are in the top 5 batsmen, if we talk about the highest run scorers. So yeah, it's a bit disappointing seeing them again at the bottom of the table. Mumbai Indians again at the top. Nothing changes there. They've always been phenomenal in the IPL. CSK again is looking a bit aging, isn't it, Nikesh? It looks like they need to do a lot of work with their team. They need to kind of revamp the whole team here at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, Ankur and I, we've covered a lot of Indian cricket over the years. We've seen a lot of MS Dhoni, haven't we? We've been lucky enough to watch a lot of him live. I know, Abhishek, you would have played against him as well. He's been around forever. He looks really fit, doesn't he? I mean, he looks in good shape. I don't know if he's cricket fit or not, but he certainly used lockdown to beef himself up a little bit. He looks strong, but I've never seen him look as tired out there in the middle. I don't know if it's the heat of the UAE or just the age catching up with him, but when he's playing those innings and, he just can't quite get those big shots out, which we're used to seeing. And he seems to be panting after he's taking those quick 2s and 3s. And Ankur, we've never seen him like this in all these years of watching him.
Yeah. I mean, look, he's the sharpest between the wickets, super quick behind the stumps. And obviously, he's so sharp and quick in his mind, isn't it? And that's probably his greatest tool, because he's so good at assessing a situation and calculating what he needs to do and figure out the master plan, so to speak. So yeah, it is a bit strange seeing him. Maybe he's just not played enough cricket because of lockdown. I mean, that's what the sort of cricket fan in me says. I'm just hoping that it's a sort of a temporary thing, and then he sort of comes on strong towards the end of the tournament once he's got a few games under his belt. But just a couple of the dismissals, he's gone for a few slog sweeps, and he got bowled, I think, the other night. And that's not an MS Dhoni type dismissal, is it, usually? So, yeah, I'm hoping we still see some MSD helicopter shots, man, because I don't want to sort of start saying that we're not going to see MSD next year or whatever. So, yeah.
We've seen more Hardik Pandya helicopter shots so far, haven't we? I mean, you've got the likes of him at the Mumbai Indians, Karan Pollard, Krunal Pandya in that middle order. CSK, I think that's where they've been lacking. That's, usually been their strength, the middle order. I mean, they're missing Suresh Raina at number 3, great top order batsman, wonderful IPL record, right up there with the very best. But then that middle order hasn't really fired. And when you've got somebody like Shane Watson at the top of the order, one night he'll hit a few runs, another night he won't. He's not been as consistent as we've been used to seeing him over the last couple of years. And, they've just not quite got that sort of aura about them, the CSK, that they have had in previous years. And you know, like Abhishek says, I think that has got to do with a little bit of aging. You know, Watson at the top of the order, Duplessis is a little bit more inconsistent. I know he's not quite as old as Watson and Dhoni, but then Dhoni down there not quite doing the magic like he used to. So yeah, they've got a few little issues, and Harbhajan Singh missing as well. You know, another old guy, but he bowled so well last season as well. He was crucial in getting them to that final. Doesn't play every game when he's involved, but he decided not to be involved this year for family reasons as well. And I think he's been a big miss as well, because, you know, a lot of pressure on somebody like a Piyush Chawla.
Yeah, I think Piyush Rana has been their biggest miss of all. As you mentioned, Harbhajan did exceptionally well the previous years, but yes, they needed somebody with all the experience when it came to bowling. When it's Harbhajan bowled on numerous occasions, we have seen him start the bowling for CSK as well, and he always gets them wicket. He's somebody who's a wicket taker. But as you mentioned, aging is a factor, and also I didn't think they got their team combination right in most occasions. Like they started with Murli Vijay, who hasn't played a lot of cricket, and especially in a T20, he hasn't really featured in T20 cricket for a long, long time now in India. And to start with him initially wasn't the right call. And then Kedar Yadav, I think a lot of things have been expected of him as well, but he hasn't performed up to his standards. Yesterday also, like Dhoni came out in the interview after the match interview, and he didn't take his name, but he was pretty annoyed with Kedar the way he planned his innings yesterday.
But I've got a question for both of you actually. How important is it to refresh your squads and your teams in the IPL? You know, when we talk about, let's say, football, and Alex Ferguson used to like to refresh every now and again, even though they were successful, they used to bring in new blood to challenge the status quo. So how much of a mistake has it been that CSK haven't sort of brought in new players and tried to get rid of some of their older aging guard?
I think it has to be a combination of youth and experience. You cannot have just youth in your squad. That's not going to take you far. And same, you cannot have everyone who's in your squad over 35. So you need to find the right balance. And I think that's where CSK has missed the boat. They haven't found the right balance this year. Even till last year, they had the right balance. They have some people who are not that old and they perform pretty well. But this year, I think because of COVID and because of the lockdown, people not getting enough opportunity to go out there and have a net session and hit enough balls. And that's also causing a lot of trouble for them. I think because Dhoni hasn't played cricket for a long time. So if you think about when Mahendra Singh Dhoni has played last, it's probably a year and a half back. So if you haven't played cricket for that long, it's really difficult to come out there and start hitting the ball well.
Especially at that age as well. I mean, let's talk about the Mumbai Indians, you know, top of the table. I had serious concerns about the Mumbai Indians coming into this tournament, in the UAE in particular, because, I mean, you look at it, someone like Lasith Malinga missing out, doesn't matter where you're playing, you know, he's the greatest T20 fast bowler that there ever has been, certainly the best fast bowler that's ever played in the IPL, and he may be getting on in years, but, you know, we saw what he did in the final last year and through the tournament as well, just bowling at the death, got the job done time after time. I thought he'd be a massive miss, and I just thought, you know, maybe Karan Pollard, again, another year on the clock, you know, would he be quite as useful as he has been? You know, people like Ishan Kishan, have they got enough experience? Have they got enough sort of nous not to just throw it away time after time? You know, we've been used to seeing him play good 30s, 40s, and then just throw the innings away, trying one too many big shots. But he's come on and matured a little bit more. You know, I was concerned about the top of the order as well. You know, Rohit Sharma has sort of, you know, steadied the ship up there, but, you know, have they got enough at the top of the order? Was Surya Kumar Yadav going to have another good year, or was, you know, last year a bit of a fluke? But, you know, he's been as consistent as ever, and I just think they've got the balance right, and maybe it's a bit of a blessing in disguise not having Malinga there, because they're able to refresh that bowling attack. You know, we're talking about refreshing sides there. And, you know, you can just look at one or two other options and other ways, other tactical ways of playing, because you've got Jasprit Bumrah, who bowls those fast Yorkers, the awkward action, you know, all the things that Malinga was famous for. And then you can bring in one or two other guys. You know, Rahul Chahar is you know, he's stood up well so far. I was concerned that he's not got enough backup with a second spinner, you know, somebody like Krunal Pandya having to do a big job, but he's stepped up again. It's all about characters as well, isn't it? Who wants to step up? Who's going to take the game by the scruff of the neck and make their 4 overs count or their 20 balls that they face out their count. And I think Mumbai have so far done that better than anyone else.
Yeah, they've got match winners, haven't they? I mean, you've got someone who can come in at any moment and make a difference. So like you said, Bumrah with the bowling, the leader of the pack, but then people like Bolt and Patterson to come in, they're experienced bowlers and they have variety in their game. But I think the Pandya brothers are key to this team as well because they complement each other well. You could have the right-left combination if they're both batting together when it starts getting into the middle order. But also, I think Kunal showed in one of the games that he came in, he had 4 balls to face at the innings, and he went, I think, 4-6, 6-4, something like that. He got 25. He's got that explosiveness. I think those two provide massive balance as well because of their bowling abilities, fielding abilities, but also batting abilities as well. When you've got your core, you've got your Sharma at the top, you've got the Pandyas in the middle with Pollard, and then you've got someone like a Bumrah. You've got the spine, and I think they've got a really good spine, and I think that they've always been good at sort of keeping their players fresh and hungry enough. And I think the Ambanis have obviously enticed them with many rewards. So if you're playing for the Ambanis and you've got some rewards on offer at the end of the season, then I'm sure you're going to play your best every game.
Did you both watch the Netflix documentary from a couple of years back?
Let's not go there, Nikesh.
Why not? I mean,
I'm not a huge fan.
Well, to be honest, it was interesting just to sort of see, how they're treated away from the cricket. Getting invited to that, what is it like, 64 floor home that they've got, worth however many millions, and all the kind of treats they get. You wouldn't want to leave that franchise if you're sort of playing regularly, you're getting treated that well, team's winning. Why would you want to leave?
No wonder everyone wants to play for them. Now the question is, do you get picked for them? That's the big question.
That's the thing.
Yeah. So, but what they have done really well is that they've stuck to their team. They've stuck to the core. They haven't made too many changes over the last 10 years, and that's why you see them winning the trophy 4 times already. And as we were talking about the batting order, what I think made a huge difference again with Mumbai Indians, that Surya Kumar Yadav coming in at number 3, and then Ishan Kishan batting brilliantly again. He's got that 99 where he literally won the game single-handedly, but unfortunately got out. But yeah, these two in the number 3 and 4 makes the team, quite lethal. And then you've got the Pandya brothers and Pollard. Like, this team at the moment looks the best team in the competition again.
Who could surprise them, though? I was just thinking who might be the surprise team this year.
To be honest, again, as we are every year, I'm quite hopeful that Royal Challengers Bangalore will do something and try and win a competition this year. Because at the moment, with Virat being in form, and again, AB de Villiers batting well, it's important how well they bowl. It's all about bowling. If RCB can bowl well, I think they've got a very, very good opportunity here to win this tournament. But
do you know what? I think there's 2 other sides that could surprise many, and that's the Delhi Capitals. They've never won it, just like the Royal Challengers Bangalore. I mean, you look at the batting power they've got in particular, and somebody like Rabada, the amount of wickets he's taken already in the tournament, already the purple cap holder by, a good 2-3 wickets at this early stage of the competition. They look a decent side, and if they can keep Prithvi Shaw in the run, Shikhar Dhawan playing well at the top of the order, you've got the hitters, the likes of Rishabh Pant to come in lower down and get them up to that big target. They've got some really, really useful cricketers. I mean, Rabada's been outstanding so far. And then you've got the Kolkata Knight Riders as well, who I think have been unlucky in a couple of their games, perhaps have got it wrong in terms of batting order. I mean, what was going on the other night, sending Morgan down at number 6. I understand if you want to promote somebody like an Andre Russell to get quick runs, right? That's absolutely fine. But then Dinesh Karthik, to put himself above Owen Morgan. I mean, Owen Morgan is a current sort of world-class player. Dinesh Karthik, has hit 6s for India in the past to win games, but not as consistently as somebody like Owen Morgan. I mean, Morgan is outstanding at this time, and to give him just 20 balls at the end there to try and chase that 200 odd whatever it was the other night.
As well, isn't
that was
he?
ridiculous.
Morgan's fresh. He's had a good summer.
Exactly. He's in form. He's played international cricket, and to be honest, I don't even know why Dinesh Karthik's the captain of Kolkata Knight Riders, because Owen Morgan, he's a World Cup winning captain. He kind of knows what he's doing, right?
I think a lot of people have raised that question, that why is not Owen Morgan the captain of KKR? I think they want to stick to somebody who's Indian, who's local. They want that sort of combination where, you know, the local captain can reach out better to the domestic players. A lot of domestic players don't speak English. There can be multiple reasons. But as you mentioned, yes, Owen Morgan, a World Cup winning captain in top form at the moment, to send him below himself was appalling. And also, like, to send Sunil Narine in front of Owen Morgan when Owen Morgan is there.
Ben Stokes had an interesting, few opinions about that as well. I mean, we know Ben Stokes. He was over in New Zealand, of course, with his father, and we wish him and his family all the best through this difficult time as well. But he tweeted that he's off to the UAE. He's arrived there now. Got to be in quarantine for a little bit before he can play for the Rajasthan Royals. So he's been busy on Twitter, basically having a go at Kolkata's tactics, at whoever's playing, basically. He's got an opinion on it. It's quite entertaining. And even he said, Narine above Morgan, I don't think so. Yuvraj replied to that, Yuvraj Singh, and he had a difference of opinion. But, it's quite fun seeing these guys on social media, particularly the ones who are involved in the tournament. And, it shows you, firstly, how gripped they are with the action that's going on out there, even when they're not playing. And the fact that, people get it wrong.
I reckon it's like fantasy cricket teams, and it's messing with their points totals. That's why.
Could well be. So in terms of the sides to watch out for, we kind of agreed on the Mumbai Indians. We think maybe Delhi are going to be up there. Kolkata Knight Riders. Is that how we're going for the top three, maybe? And if so, who's going to sneak in at number 4? Is it going to be
Rajasthan Royals, with Ben Stokes coming into the side, Rajasthan Royals looks another side which can be very, very dangerous. They've got a great balance. Unfortunately, they haven't performed as well as everyone would have expected them to. But I think they are one of the sides who can definitely seek into the top 4 and take a spot from somebody. And so that's why KKR and RCB needs to be on top of their game if they want to maintain that top 4 spot.
Yeah, it could be the tightest. It could be the tightest fight for the top 4. I think we've seen in a long time as well. When you have teams like CSK not able to compete like they normally do, it opens up the door, doesn't it? The door opens slightly, and you can see some of the other lesser successful teams historically to sneak in. I like KKR. They've got that great young Indian spine, haven't they? With Nagarkoti, Marvi coming back from their injuries, and then you've got Shubman Gill doing well at the top. And then they've got that international experience, the likes of Morgan, Narine, Cummins, Dre Russ. We haven't talked about him. He hasn't fired yet. So they've got a great lineup. And what I liked about Delhi Capitals, someone like Stoinis has come in, and he seems to have found his home in Delhi as well. And they've got a great Indian spine as well with the players we mentioned earlier. In terms of my sort of outside bet, I think the Royals, I think they would, because the likes of RCB and Sunrisers, it's all about bowling attacks for me. The best bowling attacks usually get teams into the latter stages. I know Sunrisers have the likes of Rashid. We haven't really talked about them a great deal, but have they got the bowling attack and the batting balance? I'm not so sure at the moment. So they're strong at the top of the order, and their middle order looks a bit flaky as well. With RCB, you just never know. If the top boys don't fire, then you struggle. Yeah,
I mean, they were quite impressive, I thought, in that match against the Mumbai Indians, where it went down to the super over, and Navdeep Saini bowled a beautiful super over there. Just, I think it was just 7 Mumbai got off it in the end, and that's with Karan Pollard and Hardik Pandya out there trying to hit their big shots. So, they've got potential in their bowling lineup with a couple of those young guns, but yeah, they just misfire so often, don't they, with their bowling, and that's what lets them down. It's been letting them down for over a decade now. Virat Kohli, I don't think he'll ever move franchise. I think he's firmly rooted to RCB. They'll pay him many millions of pounds, rupees, whatever you want to say, to keep him for the rest of his career. Will he ever win an IPL? Unless they sort of change things dramatically in their bowling lineup in years to come, or do something spectacular this time, it's doubtful, isn't it? It might be the one trophy that he doesn't win.
Yeah.
You reckon Virat could move to CSK next year and take over Dhoni's legacy?
What, instead of Thala, he'd be what, Naya Thala, or however you want to say.
I mean, he is the most eligible one to take the legacy from Dhoni, if you ask me. But I don't know if he's ever going to move from RCB. But if I was CSK, I would definitely look into him.
But
I think he's already made clear that he doesn't want to leave. But you never know. You never know.
Maybe there are some players you just can't see them in another shirt in the IPL. You know how you had one club men for so many years in football. Maybe I'm wondering in IPL there are people like him, Rohit Sharma, they just won't move. But then you've got someone like Ravi Ashwin.
Sharma has that. Rohit Sharma has that, hasn't he? I mean, he's found his home now. He's back home with the Mumbai Indians.
He was
a long time back. He was
I mean, it's been a long time, but you know, he didn't start off at the Mumbai Indians.
No, he didn't. Yeah, I know.
But not all like Abhishek, who just moved team to team, right?
No, but my thing was a different story altogether. Yeah, every time I played for a franchise, they got into trouble and they were nearly getting thrown out from the IPL. I don't know if it was me or
common denominator.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say anything, but you know,
there's definitely something going on with me and the franchise.
You're better off in the commentary box, Abhishek. Stay out of trouble.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think I found my place now. Just stay in the commentary box and stay in a coaching gear and coach kids. That's the best way to go forward.
In terms of the young players, we mentioned a few of them there. There's quite a lot of exciting young Indian talent, some of whom have played a handful of games for India so far, some of them who've been discussed in sort of, you know, selection meetings and things like that. Others who may have just been putting their hand up in recent times. Who's impressed you out of the young Indian core of players in the IPL so far?
Yeah, I think, again, I'm a huge fan of Shubman Gill. I think he's one of the best to come out of the young generation in the last 2 or 3 years. It's still a long way to go for him, but I think he's going to be somebody who can take the spot from Virat when Virat retires in 5, 6, 7, whenever he is. And yeah, I would really like Surya Kumar Yadav to get an opportunity to play for the country. I think he deserves it. He's done exceptionally well in the IPL. He's done really well for Mumbai. He has led Mumbai from front, won them trophies. So he's somebody who now deserves to be in the Indian side. And again, Nitish Rana, at one point, everyone thought that he has a lot of potential to play for the country, but somewhere down the line, he didn't perform as consistently as people would have expected him to be. And now, yeah, there's lots of young talent coming through. I would love to see the Mavis and the Nagarkotis taking the fast bowling attack away from Bhuvneshwar Kumar and Mohammad Shami in the next couple of years when they think is their time and they want to retire. So there's a lot of prospect in Indian cricket, a lot of new talent coming. The Tyagi guy who played for Rajasthan Royals, who made his debut, looked really good. And
he runs up like Brett Lee and delivers like Ishant Sharma, right?
Exactly, yeah. So we had that tweet from Ben Stokes, which was not a bad shout, really. So yeah, there's exciting times for Indian cricket.
I thought Padikkal looked good for the RCB at the top of the order. He looked like a stylish player, didn't he?
He looked very, very good. He looked absolutely brilliant.
That's on top of the usual suspects, the Sanju Samsons, the Navdeep Sainis, who are there, year after year in the last sort of 3 years at least, just performing consistently in the IPL.
Priyam Garg, he is somebody we need to keep an eye on very closely because he looks a real talent.
Yeah.
And the best thing, what I liked about him, the game, if you remember, when Williamson got run out, he was on the other end, and he's the guy who called no, who said no to somebody who's one of the top batsmen in world cricket. And it takes a lot of courage as a youngster who's 18 or 19-year-old to hold your ground and, say no to somebody who's the mainstay of the team. And then to go out there and deliver an innings like he did, it takes a lot of courage, and it takes a lot of, it takes something special for somebody to do that. He
had to deliver. I was thinking that same thing. As soon as he ran him out, you never see. Kane Williamson's probably one of the nicest men in cricket that you'd ever meet. And the look on his face as well, like he just wanted to club him round the helmet with his bat. And, after that, he had to play that innings. And he did, to be fair to him. He stood up and put his hand up, scored the runs.
That's what I want to emphasize on, put an emphasis on, that a lot of youngsters would have come under so much pressure, Nikesh, after getting somebody like Kane Williamson run out, that it's very hard for them to go out there and deliver and play an innings like that afterwards. Because you'll still be thinking about, oh my God, what did I do? I just got the main batsman out of our team, and if I don't perform now, will I be dropped the next game? So there's so many different thoughts which starts coming into your mind after an incident like that.
Has that happened to you before, Avi?
It has happened to me with Graham Smith. Because I remember, I didn't run him out. But what I did was, we were playing against Delhi. It was my second game in the IPL. And I played a maiden over in a T20. I just couldn't get a single. And then I went up to Graham Smith and said, trust me, I will make up for it. You don't play anything. You don't play a rash stroke and get out. Just stay here and I'll make up for it. And I said that to him. But unfortunately, next over, Graham Smith straight away played a bad shot and got out. And, after that, you feel the pressure that because of me, he got out. Now I need to go out there and score his runs as well, not just mine.
Mm.
So luckily, I even managed to get a 50 on that game, but it's just that pressure is there to perform.
There's one
Absolutely,
player.
and I suppose that's why the younger players have flourished so much, and why Indian cricket, I suppose, is at a good stage now with that conveyor belt of talent coming through and being exposed to these kind of pressure situations, being around these top players from around the world. We've said it year after year, but we're starting to see it properly in the last 5 to 6 years, aren't we? That Indian cricket, it's got this massive core of players to choose from, and there's so many of them who could just step into the international side, do a job, and that's why India are right up there in terms of top sides in the world in all formats.
A bit like Australia, they could put out like a really strong second 11 of players who couldn't get in. I remember in the 90s and early noughties, they always had that sort of pedigree where so many players missed out on getting an international cap just because of the fact that there were so many good players sort of around in Australia at the time. And India's got the same sort of situation. And actually, you wonder in the next 5 to 10 years whether that's going to be a problem in a way, as in a good problem. But someone like Yashasvi Jaiswal, we haven't seen a great deal of him at the moment. Poor guy's not had a great run, even though there's been a lot of hype about him. But let's say people like him, Prithvi Shaw, Shubman Gill, all these guys start coming through at the same time. How are you going to squeeze them all into the same batting order? So it's going to be interesting to see how that works.
It's going to be a good headache for the selectors to have, because you've got so many good talent coming through the ranks. And yes, as you mentioned, a couple of them will miss out because you can't squeeze in all of them together. So now it'll be a very, very good competition between these 4 or 5 players. Priyam Garg is in there as well. I'll throw him in there as well. So out of these 5 or 6 batters, you'll only probably have a space for 2. And who are these 2 guys who are going to be, making a mark and gear for fighting for those 2 spots?
Interesting stuff, and an interesting few weeks ahead as well of IPL action. Like we said at the start, the BBC will be covering all of the games going forward from October the 12th to the end of the tournament on BBC Radio, so you can tune in on BBC Radio 5 Live Sports Extra via the BBC Sport app, BBC Sounds. If you're not in the UK, then you can just catch us here every week, get our thoughts on what's been going on, and don't forget, once the IPL is over, we still will be here. We'll be discussing all things cricket, international cricket as well. Lots of cricket going on through the winter period as well. So, thanks very much for joining us. Guys, is there anything else you want to add before we sign off for this week?
No, just get in touch and just let us know what you want to talk about as well. If there's anything you guys are talking about in your WhatsApp groups, you're talking about it with your mates and stuff, you can talk to us about it as well. Just DM us or message us on social media. Nick, what's our social media handle?
Yeah, so we're on Twitter. It's at 3FineLegs, 3 as in the word, not the number. Same on Instagram as well, or you could just leave a comment below this video on YouTube. Just search 3FineLegs if you're not sure, and hopefully it'll come up with us and not something else.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we'll be here throughout, as Nikesh mentioned, throughout the year. We're talking all things cricket. So we'll catch up with you guys soon, and we'll wait for your comments, and any questions, just shoot.